Have you ever downloaded a simple app on Linux and had that little voice in the back of your head wonder, what is this thing really doing? Well, today we're diving into a new security feature called Landlock. And believe me, it's a deceptively simple idea that could totally change how we protect our systems, basically by letting applications lock themselves down from the inside out. Let's get into it.
So here's what we've got on tap. We're going to start by poking a few holes in the myth of Linux's total invulnerability. Then we'll take a quick look at the old school security tools before really digging into what makes Landlock such a potential game changer, how it works, and what it could mean for the future of security right there on your own machine.
All right, first up, let's talk about a risk that, honestly, doesn't get talked about enough in the Linux community. We all love to think of Linux as this impenetrable fortress, but the reality? Yeah, it's a little more complicated than that. So let's just ask the question straight up. How secure is your desktop really? For years and years, the Linux world has kind of enjoyed what you might call security through obscurity. A smaller market share just meant fewer bad guys were targeting it. But that's changing. As Linux gets more and more popular, its default security model is really starting to come under the microscope. Just take a look at this list for a second. Without any special sandboxing, a totally standard, unprivileged application that you download can do all of this. It can peek at your private SSH keys. It can snatch your browser cookies. It can even log your keystrokes. And I want to be super clear here. This isn't about giving an app admin rights. This is the default state of affairs. And this is the problem that Landlock was created to solve.
Now, to be fair, it's not like Linux is the Wild West. There are some incredibly powerful security tools that have been around for a long time. The only catch? They often come with a learning curve so steep that it's kept them out of reach for a lot of everyday desktop apps. And this table right here, it really tells the whole story. You've got the heavyweights, right? Linux, AppArmor, they are absolute powerhouses, but they need administrator rights. They demand system-wide policies, and frankly, they are famously complex. Containers like Docker, awesome for servers, but pretty clunky for a simple desktop app. But then, look at Landlock. No admin rights needed. It's designed to be easy. And here's the kicker. It is application-centric. The security is built by the app for the app.
And that brings us right to Landlock itself. It's not trying to replace those big, heavy-duty tools. Not at all. Instead, it's designed to neatly fill the gap they leave behind, offering a totally new kind of security that's actually accessible enough for every single developer to use. The core idea here is just beautiful in its simplicity. Landlock is basically an API that lets an application make a binding, unbreakable contract with the operating system itself. The app literally tells the kernel, hey, this is exactly what I need to do my job, and I promise I won't even try to touch anything else. And this quote just nails the philosophy. The application is essentially saying, look, kernel, I only need to read this one directory and write to this one file. So please, lock me down so that even if some attacker hijacks my process, you will deny any attempt I make to go outside those boundaries. It's such a powerful, proactive way to think about security. So what really makes Landlock a big deal? First, it's unprivileged. Any app can use it without you needing to type in your admin password. The security policy is actually baked right into the app's code, so it travels with it. It uses a deny by default model, which is just inherently more secure, and maybe best of all, this isn't some brand new untested ding. It's been a stable part of the Linux kernel for years now. Okay, so we get what it is and why it's so great. But how does an application actually use Landlock to build these, virtual walls around itself? Well, the process is surprisingly straightforward. First off, it's really important to get this. Landlock isn't some third-party add-on or a hack. It's an official Linux security module, an LSM. That means it's a native, trusted part of the kernel's architecture, sitting right alongside giants like SE Linux. It's meant to be there, and it can even work in tandem with other security tools. Building the sandbox is a pretty simple three-step dance. Think of it like a bouncer at an exclusive club. First, the app goes up to the bouncer, that's the kernel, and declares what it's there to do, like, I'm only going to be reading and writing files. Second, it hands over a very specific guest list. Only let me access the home/user/docs folder. And finally, the app gives the nod and tells the bouncer to enforce the rules. And from that exact moment on, the doors are locked. The app and any other processes it might start cannot get anywhere that isn't on that list. Period. No exceptions. So let's zoom out for a second and look at the bigger picture. Because this isn't just some neat little technical tool for developers, it genuinely has the potential to create a much, much safer ecosystem for all of us Linux users. Just think about the practical day-to-day implications. Your PDF reader could be restricted to only reading the single PDF file you opened and literally nothing else on your system. A web server, even if it gets compromised through some vulnerability, would be trapped and couldn't access anything outside of its www directory. All those everyday apps we use, image viewers, word processors, you name it, could be neatly contained, which would drastically reduce the damage an exploit could ever do.
And all of this is really heading in one very exciting direction, bringing that simple, intuitive permission system we all know from our phones over to the Linux desktop. So Landlock is here today, but it's not done growing. The next huge addition on the horizon is network controls, which would let an app restrict its own internet access. But the feature that has everyone really excited is something called Supervise Mode. This would make interactive permission prompts possible, just like on your phone. Imagine downloading an app and it pops up a little box asking, "Is it okay if I access your documents folder?" That's the end goal here. Which leaves us with this final, really thought-provoking question. Look, we've had incredibly powerful security tools for decades, but they're often just too complex for most people to actually use. By making security this simple enough for every developer to build right into their app from day one, could Landlock be the key that finally unlocks a new era of user-friendly, genuinely effective security for the Linux desktop? It's a pretty exciting future to think about.